Hello, my mermaids and manga boys. My name is SpongeDrew, and welcome back to another video. Today we are back once again at the SpongeBob 3-in-1 book, SpongeBob Saves the Day, which in the last one we will be doing Legends of Bikini Bottom. I have done SpongeBob to the Rescue and the Great Patty Capper in their own separate videos, so if you want to check them out for yourself and want to see me read them, please, look in the I'll leave links in the description so you can see, me reading each of these of their own. But we have, all of this. We shall move on to the last one. What does that mean? Well, it doesn't mean that I'm done reading SpongeBob books. So if you were thinking that was going to be the case, but because you're wrong, I have one more book that I have, and that will probably be the last SpongeBob book until I decide to go on eBay and find another one. So after I get done reading that one, I don't know what I'll do next, but I'll definitely try to, look and stuff, try to get, like a screen recording, set up and everything, so I could do like speed paints and like other like fun videos for the future of my channel. But that being said, let's move on to Legends of Bikini Bottom. You can see kind of like some story right here, like pause the video and like read all about it, but let's move on. Far below the blue calm waters of the ocean lie many dark legends, the mere whisper of the word trench billy, a passing thought about the main drain, or the smallest suggestion of the Bikini Bottom triangle would send chills down the spines of even the hardest of sea creatures. No one dared to uncover these hidden mysteries. That is, until now, none of those creatures could hold a candle to the bravest, yellowest sponge in the whole sea. And so, SpongeBob SquarePants set off to uncover the 6 greatest legends of Bikini Bottom. Legend 1. The monster who came to Bikini Bottom. Patrick was playing in the ocean when he met a giant monster. Most people would have been terrified, but not Patrick. He and the monster became friends. They played with a snow globe and spent the afternoon laughing together. Patrick brought the monster to meet SpongeBob. At first, SpongeBob thought the monster was hurting Patrick. This is even worse than yesterday when the ice machine broke at the Krusty Krab, thought SpongeBob. But then he realized that the monster was Patrick's new friend. And you are? SpongeBob asked. Rarg! The monster roared. Nice to meet you, Rag. Or Rarg. I don't know. I'll just kind of go on as we read, SpongeBob replied. But there was a small problem. Rarg didn't have anywhere to live in Bikini Bottom. Patrick offered him his rock, but Rarg was so big that Patrick's rock sat like a small hat on his giant head. The rock looked so funny on his head that SpongeBob and Patrick began to laugh and laugh. Suddenly, Rarg picked the rock up and threw as far as he could. Patrick's house was smashed into dozens of little pieces. Still, SpongeBob, Patrick, and Rarg laughed even harder. It was so funny that Rarg began smashing more houses. He smashed SpongeBob's pineapple and Squidward's house too. Suddenly, the police came to see what all the ruckus was about. When they saw Rarg, they built a fence around him to keep him in. But Rarg was too big for the fence. He just stepped right over it and started to run. The police chased him through the streets of Bikini Bottom. And just when they had him cornered, Patrick appeared. Wait just 1 minute, Patrick cried. He's my friend. Let me talk to him first. Patrick and Rag, came up with a plan. Rag now lives at the top of Bikini Bottom, Appalus. Appalus, I think that's how you say it. And has a job. He supplies Bikini Bottom with all of their ice. Legend 2. Welcome to the Bikini Bottom Triangle. Not too long Not too long ago, strange things started happening in Bikini Bottom. SpongeBob's alarm clock went missing, so did Gary's shell, Squidward's clarinet, Patrick's cufflinks, and even Mr. Krabs. A sailor told them that legend says when an eerie fog rolls in and the song of the mermaids is heard, things disappear into the Bikini Bottom triangle and they never come back. SpongeBob and Squidward searched high and low for Mr. Krabs when a fog rolled in, and the mermaids began to sing. Suddenly, Squidward and SpongeBob were sucked into a chute. They landed on a giant pile of discarded things: a gumball machine, a fridge, some tennis rackets, and even lawnmowers. A few moments later, Patrick and Pearl came tumbling through the chute too. Soon, they found Mr. Krabs. He was having the time of his life. In fact, he wanted to stay in the Bikini Bottom triangle until he thought that Plankton might be running the Krusty Krab. SpongeBob and Patrick asked the singing mermaids for help. Look, we only know one thing. Nothing ever leaves the Bikini Bottom triangle, they answered. That's how we surround ourselves with cool, new stuff. Anything belonging that is TNOP, totally not our problem. They didn't care that SpongeBob and his friends were stuck. But then, Pearl told them that the mall had the best, coolest, and glittery, fabulous new stuff. Wow, that's quite the word. Now, the mermaids wanted to go to the mall. SpongeBob had an idea. If the mermaids sang their song backward, it might reverse the direction of the giant chute. Instead of sucking things into the triangle, it would shoot everything inside back out. It worked! Pearl and the mermaids immediately headed for the mall, and SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs discovered that the mysterious sailor had kept the Krusty Krab running the whole time they were gone. I've got a little vermin problem, said the sailor. Legend 3, The Curse of the Hex. One dark and stormy night, an old hagfish appeared at the Krusty Krab just as Squidward was locking up. She forced her way in, but Squidward refused to take her order. She just kept begging for a Krabby Patty, and Squidward and Mr. Krabs couldn't get her to leave. And SpongeBob walked over to her and whispered something in her ear. She finally agreed to leave, but called out a warning. "You haven't seen the last of me," she yelled on her way out the door. Later, SpongeBob sneaked out of the Krusty Krab with 2 Krabby Patties for the hagfish. But as SpongeBob handed her the Krabby Patties, Mr. Krabs showed up and grabbed them first. Angered, the hagfish shouted, "Eye of newt and frozen shark skin slab, I hereby curse the Krusty Krab." The next day, no customers showed up at the Krusty Krab, and a mysterious fire burned some of Mr. Krabs' hard-earned cash. So he set off with SpongeBob to beg and plead with the hagfish to remove her awful curse. The hagfish said she would lift the curse if they brought her the sacred gold doubloon from the throat of a giant golden eel. So SpongeBob led the way and retrieved the gold doubloon. The hagfish promptly used the coin for laundry. "Finally," she said. Then they went to the Krusty Krab. The hagfish pulled out a wooden close sign from in front of the restaurant. It wasn't a curse after all. Relieved, Mr. Krabs and SpongeBob returned to work. Legend 4, The Main Drain. Mr. Krabs once told SpongeBob and Patrick a scary story. the story of the main drain. Mr. Krabs told them how two little boys many years ago stumbled upon a giant plug at the center of the ocean. They didn't know what it was, so they pulled on it. Suddenly, everything was beginning to suck into the hole. Not only did the two kids go down the drain, but so did all of the houses and people of Bikini Bottom. SpongeBob and Patrick decided to trek across the ocean to find the main drain to protect it. But when they got there, Patrick did not believe it was the real thing. They were about to pull the plug to make sure it was real when Mr. Krabs and Plankton showed up. Mr. Krabs confessed that he and Plankton were the two kids in the story he told them, and he begged them not to pull the plug. But Patrick accidentally pulled it, and they were all sucked into the drain, along with all of Bikini Bottom. Luckily, it was just a bedtime story. Legend 5. Trench Billies. One day, SpongeBob and Patrick were chasing a jellyfish when they fell off a cliff down, 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 until finally they landed hard, right on top of a trench billy. The trench really dragged them to the leader, Ma Angler. As the leader of this clan, she groaned, "I must subject you to our clan invitation rights to see if you're worthy of living." A trench billy walked up to them with his fiddle in hand, and he played a song. SpongeBob, I think it's meant to be a musical challenge," Patrick whispered. So SpongeBob grabbed a pair of suspenders and fastened them to his pants. Then Patrick picked up SpongeBob and began to strum on his suspenders like a guitar. They passed the challenge. Phew! Next, it was time for the Hoo and Hollern contest. The Trench Billy's best singer, Bestie, yodeled and loudest, strongest yodel she could muster. What are we going to do?" SpongeBob asked. "I don't know," Patrick answered, "but I sure am thirsty." Patrick opened a can of corn and began gulping. Opened a can of corn and began gulping. SpongeBob grabbed a can and gulped down the rest. Afterward, they each let out the loudest, strongest burps ever. The crowd went wild. Next, they were challenged to do a wrestling match. But SpongeBob and Patrick showed everyone how to jellyfish instead. At first, my angler wasn't impressed, but then SpongeBob and Patrick jumped high into the air, collided, and collapsed on the ground. My angler thought those were great wrestling moves, and she made them honorary trench billies. She gave each a set of trench billy teeth. A few moments later, they learned that meant they had to stay there and take care of her forever. Hearing that, SpongeBob and Patrick ran as fast as they could back to Bikini Bottom where they belonged. Legend 6. Sponge Kano. On a beautiful sunny day in Bikini Bottom, SpongeBob felt the urge to sing about all of the things he was grateful for. He was grateful for his house, his life in Bikini Bottom, and especially for his neighbor. Except his neighbor Squidward wasn't so grateful for all of that singing outside his window. In fact, it distracted him so much that he tripped over his paint brushes and ended up breaking one of his flower pipes in his basement, flooding it. "I can give you a hand, neighbor," SpongeBob said. "No, you've done enough already," yelled Squidward. "I don't want your help ever again." Realizing he was late for his job at the Krusty Krab, Squidward quickly fixed the water pipe, and ran to work, but being at work didn't exactly change Squidward's attitude. He was grumpy and rude to all the customers all day. This day couldn't get any worse, grumbled Squidward. I'm the most miserable person in Bikini Bottom. Suddenly, everyone heard a loud rumbling and could see fire raining down everywhere in Bikini Bottom. Mount Bikini Bottom had just erupted. The town was in a panic. The raining lava was burning holes in everything, even through the roof of the Krusty Krab. It looked like Bikini Bottom was doomed. That was until an ancient warrior who had ruled over the ocean before the dawn of time came to tell them how to stop it. To stop the volcano, you must sacrifice the most miserable person, said the warrior. Before he could finish speaking, the crowd began chanting, Squidward, Squidward. They tied him to a stake and carried him to the volcano. They were about to throw him in when... I am grateful for the life I have. Please help me, SpongeBob, pleaded Squidward. You told me not to help you ever again, said SpongeBob. Just then they heard another loud rumbling throughout Bikini Bottom. Could it be another volcano? No, it was the pipe in Squidward's house exploding from the water pressure. The water blew the house into the air and lit it right on the volcano. Bikini Bottom was saved. Oh, let me get a drink of water real quick. Okay, but you said the sacrifice had to be the most miserable person, Squidward cried. No one let me finish, said the warrior. I was going to say you must sacrifice the most miserable person's house to the volcano. No one ever listens to me. And so our brave SpongeBob survived and lived to tell about the legends of the deep. Not everyone is so lucky. Some never got out of the Bikini Bottom Triangle, or even became trench billies. But now you know, and can you go out to uncover more hidden mysteries? What spine-chilling creatures will you discover? And with that being said, that is all 3 stories in this one book. This was fun. Definitely, all 3 of them are based off of, like episodes that have been aired, from, like seasons and whatnot. Like obviously some of these are like short stories from, like the episodes, of course, just, like into a book. But still, a lot of fun to read and, a lot of fun, using your imagination about these stories. Now, I do have one final book to read, and that will be the last one, and hopefully by that I'll deliver even more content, maybe showing off more of my collection and so on. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching today's video. If you like what you see here and you want to see more content like this in the future, then be sure to subscribe to my channel today. Click that bell notification so you'll stay notified when I make new videos. Like the video, comment what you think of it. Like, what was your favorite story out of these 3? Do you like these episodes or something? Share with your friends, family, and other people who love books and love SpongeBob. And with that being said, I will see all of you in my next video. Bye bye.